You meet someone. You talk. You decide together whether there's a future. This feels like the most natural thing in the world. For most of human history, it wasn't how it worked at all. For roughly 300,000 years, who you paired with, when, and why had almost nothing to do with romance. It had everything to do with survival, alliance, and the brutal math of keeping a small group of humans alive in a dangerous world. So what did dating and marriage actually look like before candlelit dinners and dating apps? And why does the modern version feel so unnatural to so many people? Let us start with the basics. Anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer societies, groups like the Hadza of Tanzania or the Juhwanzi of the Kalahari, found that pair bonding existed almost everywhere. Humans are what biologists call a pair bonding species, meaning we tend to form long-term partnerships, unlike many mammals. But pair bond didn't mean what modern marriage means today. Anthropologist Helen Fisher spent decades researching the biology of human attachment. Her work identified 3 distinct brain systems involved in mating lust, driven by testosterone and estrogen. Attraction, driven by dopamine, the same chemical involved in addiction. And attachment, driven by oxytocin and vasopressin, chemicals linked to long-term bonding. Fisher's research suggests these 3 systems evolved somewhat independently, which is why you can feel intense attraction to one person while feeling deep attachment to another. That is not a modern flaw. That is ancient wiring. Now here's the twist. In most hunter-gatherer societies, initial pairing wasn't left up to chance encounters or spontaneous attraction. It was often arranged, negotiated, or heavily influenced by the group. Anthropologist Marjorie Shostak, who lived among and studied the Juhwanzi, documented how first marriages were frequently arranged by parents, sometimes when the girl was still a child, though the marriage wasn't consummated until puberty. This wasn't unique to the Kalahari. Cross-cultural surveys of hunter-gatherer and small-scale societies, including work compiled by anthropologist George Murdoch, found arranged first marriages were the norm in the majority of documented societies, not the exception. Why? Because marriage wasn't just about 2 people. It was an alliance between families and often between entire kin groups. A marriage created obligations. It meant one family owed another labor, food sharing, and support during hard times. Choosing a partner based purely on personal chemistry would have been, from the Group S perspective, almost reckless. So let us reconstruct a scene. A Juhwanzi camp. A father and mother from one family approach another family whose son has proven himself a capable hunter. Gifts are exchanged: meat, beads, tools. Not a bride price exactly, but something anthropologists call bride service, where the young man works for his wife's family for a period of years, hunting and gathering on their behalf, proving his worth through labor rather than through a ring or a proposal. This is the part almost nobody expects. Divorce, in many of these societies, was remarkably common and remarkably casual. Shostak's research among the Juhwanzi found that divorce rates were high, and it typically required little more than one partner simply moving back to their own family's camp. No courts, no custody battles in the modern sense. Because property was minimal and children were raised communally by the wider group, separation didn't carry the same catastrophic weight it can carry today. This connects to something researcher Sarah Blaffer Hrdy has written extensively about. Many hunter-gatherer societies practiced what anthropologists call partible paternity, the belief, held in parts of South America and elsewhere, that a child could have more than one biological father if the mother had multiple partners during pregnancy. In these cultures, each man who had relations with the mother was expected to contribute food and protection to that child. A strange concept to modern ears, but a brilliant survival strategy. It spread the responsibility for a child's survival across multiple men, instead of concentrating it in one fragile bond. Now let us talk about something universal across almost every documented small-scale society: the incest taboo, and how far it extended. Anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss, studying kinship systems across the globe, found that virtually every human culture enforced rules against mating with close relatives. But many extended this much further than modern law does, sometimes barring marriage within an entire clan or lineage, regardless of blood relation. This forced people to look outward, to form alliances with neighboring groups rather than turning inward. Some anthropologists argue this single rule may be one of the most important social inventions in human history, because it is what forced early human groups to network, trade, and cooperate with strangers instead of staying isolated. So picture the counterintuitive twist. The thing that feels most personal today, who you fall in love with, was for most of human history one of the most political acts a family could perform. A marriage wasn't a private decision. It was diplomacy. And yet, despite all this arrangement and negotiation, real affection clearly existed. Fisher's cross-cultural research found evidence of romantic attachment, jealousy, longing, grief after a partner's death in nearly every society ever studied, including ones where the initial pairing was arranged. The chemistry Helen Fisher describes doesn't care whether you chose your partner or your parents did. Oxytocin still floods in. Attachment still forms. Grief still crushes you when it ends. Marjorie Shostak's most famous work, A Life History of a Zhuangzi woman named Nisa, captured this perfectly. Nisa's own marriages, some arranged, some chosen, some ended in devastating loss, were described in her own words with the same longing, jealousy, and heartbreak you'd hear from anyone today. The forms were different. The feelings were not. Here is the modern mirror. Today, we've flipped the entire system. We removed the family's role almost entirely. We removed bride service, arranged alliances, communal safety nets. We replaced it with something radical in the scope of human history. Two individuals, meeting largely by chance or algorithm, expected to build an entire life and support system almost entirely on their own, with little to no wider group backing them up if it fails. It is no coincidence that modern marriage, unsupported by the extended kin networks our ancestors relied on for hundreds of thousands of years, can feel so fragile. We are asking one romantic bond to do the job an entire village used to share. The next time modern dating feels exhausting, or a relationship feels like it is carrying too much weight alone, remember this. You're not failing at something ancient and instinctive. You are succeeding or struggling at something genuinely new, a version of pairing your ancestors never had to face without a village standing behind them. You meet someone, you talk, you decide together whether there is a future. It feels natural, but it's one of the newest experiments our species has ever tried.